This morning on The Dish, one woman's return to her roots. Somali native Hawa Hassan grew up here in the United States, but it was her homeland and reconnection with her family that sparked her passion, a love of East African cuisine. To bring the flavors of home here, she started a line of sauces and just released a cookbook, In Bibi's Kitchen. I sat down with Hassan to learn more about the book and the journey that brought her to it.
Papaya with vanilla sauce. This is mkimo, which is corn, potatoes, and green peas. Sauteed cabbage, also from Kenya. Sugo from Somalia.
This table, full of African dishes, is food entrepreneur Hawa Hassan.
My dream was to always be at the table and then slowly but surely take over the table. And I mean, I'm looking at this table right now. I'm like, what is happening?
You've taken over the table.
The whole table.
The recipes for these dishes are all in Hassan's new cookbook, In Bibi's Kitchen. Bibi means grandmother in Swahili, and it is Bibis from 8 African countries who provided the recipes found on Hassan's pages.
Oh my God.
Why did you want to do this book?
I wanted to do this book because I hadn't seen people like myself reflected in books in this way. And it's exploration and recipes through conversation with these women. I really felt like they were missing from the narrative, and in turn, I was missing from the narrative.
Hassan was born in Somalia. At the start of the civil war in 1991, she fled with her mother and siblings to a refugee camp in Kenya. Hassan was just 4 years old.
My brother and I went from being children to like young adults.
How do you do that at 4?
I mean, you just do what your mom says, and so everybody started pulling their weight.
Her mother had hoped to move the family to the U.S., but it was Hassan alone who got the chance to go to Seattle at age 7. You had to be terrified.
No, I was playing my role in the family. I thought, here's an adventure. I'll get a feel for the land, and then they'll come, which I didn't think it would take more than a year for them to get documents to come.
And as it turned out,
Black Hawk happened. Sponsorship for Somali stopped. My mother remarried and moved to Norway, where they still live.
And you were still in Seattle?
I was still in Seattle.
By middle school, Hassan says she was assimilating to the States.
I joined the basketball team. I joined 4-H. I became really what I call an American teenager.
Eating Taco Bell, was that right?
I was eating Taco Bell. I didn't know how to even do this. You know, I had left all this behind.
Did you miss home?
You know, I didn't give myself an opportunity to do a lot of missing, because if I did, I would have cracked. But what I later found out was that I had missed the smell of home. Unts or the hawaj that's in here, that's what I'd really missed.
After high school, Hassan began earning a living as a model, which exceeded expectations financially, but personally left her wanting more.
I knew it wasn't a space where I was welcomed. You know, it was like, oh, we already have enough of you, or she's not black enough, she's not white enough. I started to really drown in narratives that were placed on me. I was everything but Hawa Hassan, and I just kept thinking about how do I get back to the center of who I really am, and that's when I went on a quest to reunite with my family.
After 15 years, in 2008, Hassan finally visited her mom and siblings in Norway.
It was incredible in every sense of the words. I had found a belonging. I had found things I'd longed for. You know, in my culture, we say paradise is at the feet of your mom. And so to just be at home with her and be in the kitchen with her, to be on the floor, to wake up in the mornings together.
And the smell, you got that
and
smell
the
back.
Smell. I got the unts and the hawaj and all of that.
So once you had sort of a taste of that, some people would think, why not stay there with them? But you came back. Why?
Because I am incredibly independent.
But Hassan's mom did get her independent daughter to think about what was next. How did you land on food?
It just went back to how can I tell stories and how can I change the conversation about who people are saying Somalis are and how can I do it through food.
She saw space in the food industry with a lack of African cuisine. And this is the vanilla...
The vanilla sauce for the lobster.
Oh my gosh.
It's a great holiday dish.
In 2015, she launched her first venture, Basbas, the sauce line.
I just thought hot sauce, you know, why not slowly inch my way onto the table by introducing people to flavors of where I'm from.
What started in a kitchen in Harlem has grown into nationwide distribution of Bas sauces with a focus on direct-to-consumer sales.
The advice that was given to me was to write a business plan. And so I knew 2 sauces from Somalia, build it for a few years, get a proposal going for Bibi's kitchen. While doing that, write a pitch for a show. All of it has just come to pass.
Adding diversity, Hassan says, to an industry still in need of it.
Oh, there's lots of tokenizing. I won't be in a space that doesn't have people that look like me in it or is not welcoming to folks like me. If I get inside, I always ask for another person who looks like me to come along. And if there's some pushback from that, I know how to pack up my bags and leave.
Hassan traces that steadfastness in herself and her beliefs to her mom, traits also belonging to the Bibis in her cookbook.
All of them are really proud and a little grateful that these stories are outside of themselves now.
Where we are as a society right now and the conversations we're having about race, about inclusion, about changing the system, does this fit in some way? Does having...
Absolutely. When you bring people together over a plate of food, a glass of wine, no conversation is too big or too small. I think that for the first time in this country, the hard conversations are being had. And so my space in that is to be able to bring people together, put the food on the table, and allow my community to speak to one another.
And there's a saying that she's used before. She wants to build longer tables and shorter fences, and that sort of helps to have that conversation with the food. Her plans are expanding that sauce line right now, and she's working on a couple other projects. But really an incredible story to get to where she is now from where she came.
I love that she missed the smell of home.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't that make sense?
What it was all about, those smells from childhood.
And we all have them.
Always come back to you, yes.
Yeah, I was looking at the food on that table, and it took me back to Kenya and Tanzania. We used to call those little bites kidogos, because kidogo in Kiswahili means small. So it was just like nibbling on food and getting a taste of it all.
And her point was that was just missing from the industry because it hadn't been brought there. The same with a book like this. Somebody hadn't proposed it, people didn't know. Now it is out there right now, and it just adds to the diversity.
And we'll go out and buy it. Can't wait to try that.